Okay, we're back in business. It's Monday morning. Just got to get my online training workstation set up, so just had to put the washing in the kitchen. I've got a few more bits to do, so I'm going to crack on with that. Well, I've just done my first one-in, one-out shop at Sainsbury's. It wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. I'm not a great one for queuing and having to wait. So I had my earphones on, listening to a lecture on Bayesianism. So it wasn't the end of the world. But I got in, got out within one lecture, so that must mean it was half an hour, which was alright, which isn't too bad for the queuing and the shopping. So I'll take that. So I'm going to go back home, sort that out, get on with some more work. It's dinner time and it's soup time. I'm going old school. I'm making my soup. So it's going to be carrot, parsnip and onion, seasoned with some mixed herbs and whatnot. So I'm going to get stuck into that. I haven't made soup for a while because it was just taking too much time. But now time is one thing that is available, so I thought, well, instead of buying in a pre-made soup, I thought I would go back old school and make it myself. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to crack on, chop all that up and get that stuck in. You can see it down there. I won't use all of that, but I'm going to chop that up, cook it up, smash it up, and then have it as a soup. So I'll get stuck into that. Now it's all chopped, all being boiled, so just boiling it down, soften it up before I smash it up and turn it into a soup. Yay! It's finished and ready to eat. There it is, a couple of pieces of toast with it. Can't have soup without toast. But there it is. What have I got? What is it? It's, as I mentioned at the start, it's parsnip, carrot and onion. There's some garam masala in there and cumin with mixed herbs, olive oil and Himalayan pink salt. So that's going to be my soup for the week. And and I got Swede as well, so I'll put that in one of them eventually. But that's tonight's, so I'm going to get stuck into that. See you in a bit. I thought I'd finish today with, if you want to call it, some words of wisdom, then great. Some people might not call it that, but hey. So it goes something like this. If you focus on the solution, the problem goes away. If you focus on the problem, the solution goes away. Now, what that basically means is not that when you focus on the solution, this whole COVID-19 thing just disappears from the world. That's not how it works. What we're talking about is, as a population, we are in a situation. Call it good, call it bad, call it whatever you want. We're in a situation. So what we've got to be able to do is, in some respects, solve that solution, because we've had a way of life 2-3 weeks ago. Very quickly, it turned into a different way of life. I don't want to say a better or a worse one, just a different one. What we've now got to do is make this normal life and plan for that. Because the quicker that we do, the less stress we will experience. Because when we come into normal life, it becomes very routine, it becomes very habitual, so on and so forth. Now, I know people have different things going on, and those are all going to play their part in making that happen. And the more things you have going on, the more things you need to sort out, and the longer it can take. So there is going to be a period of stress where we're going from how we used to live to how we live now. Again, the quicker we can get there, the less stress will be experienced. Because a lot of people think it's about the survival of the fittest, but that's not what was said. that was, in some respects, spun slightly. What was said is the most adaptable to change will survive. So what we've got to be able to do is adapt to this change. The quicker than we do, the less stress we'll experience. The more we try to hang on to the way it was, the more stress we'll experience. So it's very much taking now the way it is and going, right, how is life now going to be lived? Certainly for the next 2 weeks, as we are in this lockdown. We will probably be in this lockdown for possibly another 3 weeks, and then they'll start weaning us back out. But essentially, we're in this situation that we're in, be it for better, be it for worse, whatever. What we've got to start thinking about is how can we make this as normal as possible? And then we will just be living normal life. As I mentioned, the more we try to hold on to the past, the more stress we experience, because we're trying to live what was once, but not living what is now. So it's very much focusing on the solution. So what is the solution to making now routine way of life? For me, it was sorting out my finances, because very quickly business started to diminish. So I had to go to my finances, I had to go to my budget, strip everything away, get back to the essentials. Then it was, okay, what's the appetite from my clients? Who wants to train? Who doesn't want to train? Who can't train? So I then started building all that together. Then I started to see that, okay, well, these are my outgoings now, which are the essentials. This is now starting to look like a potential income. Is there a shortfall? Am I in excess? So on and so forth. If I'm in shortfall, I can then drop in the difference from my savings to keep everything ticking along. Once I'd got to that position, it was then, right, now I'm in that position, what are the government offering? So we've got their different schemes that they're offering where self-employed people can be granted money. We've had our tax deferred from June. Now again, I've got to think ahead. So what I'm not doing is I'm not saving that money in June because it's getting deferred to January. So that money still needs to be available. So I'm still ticking along. So when this money comes in 3 months' time, I'm not going to be thinking, oh great, I've got extra money. This is going to be, right, I need to know what I'm going to have in January so I can pay that tax bill. So again, I'm not in a shortfall. So you've got to be able to plan, because once you plan, you cover your bases, you stay calm because you've covered your bases. So from my perspective, the initial ones were my finances, were my business. Once I'd sorted that out, then I could start thinking about home life a little bit more. How am I going to work from home? How am I going to manage my diet and my nutrition with regards to the foods that I can buy in the supermarkets? How am I going to manage my training? Because at the moment I'm allowed out on my bike, but possibly that's going to change. It might be made tighter. Then I'm not going to be able to go out on my bike. So we've got to think about all these things, cover these bases, because once we've covered these bases, if any more restrictions come in, we just put our contingency plan in place and off we go. So there's no stress there. If, for example, I didn't take care of that and I was trying to keep it the way it was, I'd be, experiencing all amounts of stress now because I've got all these expenses, I've got zero income, how am I going to manage this? But no, I've stripped it all back, I've gone back to the basics, I've rebuilt or re-established what I have, and then I'm building forwards. So I'm now starting to think of how can I then expand that out in the current climate, in the current situation that we're in. So thinking up more products, more services, more needs that the population may have that I can fulfill with regards to education on health and fitness, so on and so forth. So there's all these different types of things. Now, mine aren't the same as everyone else's because it's just me. I've just got to worry about what I'm doing and what my finances and my business are doing. Other people have to think about family members, their own income, partner's income, feeding them, so on and so forth, bills, whatever it might be. So everyone has their own little unique system. But what we have to do is we have to focus on the solution to those potential problems. If we can do that, the problem will become a lot less. We won't stress about it. It will just be, okay, this is happening, it's there, this is what I've got to do in place of it. And then when we come out the other side, we can start rebuilding back into, in some respects, the way it was, but we're going to be building forward because there's going to be new ways of life that come out of this. So if you find that helpful, great. Stick a comment in below. That'd be great to hear it. If not, don't put a comment there, because if it's not useful, I'll probably just delete it. If it's constructive, then fine. But if it's just negative, then I'll just delete it because it's not useful. So I'll just delete it. But anyway, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. I'll speak again tomorrow.